Hey, it's Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. and today we are covering Zombicide Undead or Alive, the newest Zombicide from CMON, which is weird because I just assumed inherently that they were done with the series, never to make another one at all, ever whatsoever. They've only made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think this is the 10th Zombicide, maybe. There's 3 seasons ones. There's Black Plague, Green Horde, that's 5. There's Invader and Darkside, kind of 2. That's going to bring you to 7. We have... I'm missing something here. We have Zombicide Undead or Alive is 8. We have Night of the Living Dead is 9. And I don't know, but there's a whole bunch of Zombicides, I guess, is my point overall. And so the question is, why back this one? What's special about Zombicide Undead or Alive? Is this the game you want or not? Who knows? Let's go through it. And to begin with, because of the fact that I do tend to be a fan of CMON, one of the things that I like doing in their videos, when I do the show you back of a CMON videos, is giving you reasons not to back the game, giving you 5 reasons out the gate as to why this is the game you should not be backing. And to begin with, you already have Zombicide. I mean, at least I already have Zombicide behind me on the shelf, rows and rows of it, and so if you already have tons of Zombicide, yes, there are changes here, yes, they may be for the better, some will be, some won't be, who knows, but do you really need another Zombicide? And even if you do already have another Zombicide, so even if you don't already have a Zombicide, if you're saying, nope, this is my first Zombicide, I still recommend Black Plague. I think Black Plague is my personal favorite Zombicide of all time, at least as of now. Granted, I only have 1 play of Undead or Alive under my belt, so hey, who knows, I could be wrong there. 3, Zombicide is a game that plays best with 2 to 3 players. I'm just telling you that right now. That's just it is how it works. It plays best with 2 to 3 players. You could solo it. There are better solo games. You could play it with 4, 5, and 6. There are better 4, 5, and 6 player games. If you are not primarily looking to play this at 2 or 3 players, I do recommend picking up another game because of the nature of the 6 heroes and because of the fact that there are always 6 heroes. And controlling different amounts of heroes of different players is always not that fun. And so ultimately, usually you want to have 3 people controlling 2 heroes each, or 2 people controlling 3 heroes each. That is the way Zombicide is best played. And so factor that player count into your decision. 4, by the time all is said and done on this campaign, you're not looking at a $100 price tag anymore. You're looking at $250 or more to get everything Zombicide. Take a look at Zombicide Season 2 for reference, but if you want to go through it, Zombicide historically does fall in the $250 plus price range for all in. Now, if you are completely fine with just paying $100 for the base pledge and getting all the goodness that is in this campaign and then walking away after that, that is awesome. But in case you're prepared for the sticker shock, in case you're going to see add-on after add-on, in case you're going to be surprised at all the extras and all the stuff you kind of want and be turned off of it, I'm warning you right now, be prepared for a $250 price tag, or be prepared to just get the $100 base pledge, which is, by the way, generally the best value. And 5, CMON does have delays. I mean, let's take a look again at Season 2. Season 2 is supposed to arrive in November 2020. Does it look like it's November 2020? CMON in general on their campaigns, most Kickstarters, to be fair, most companies are generally going to be behind the curve. And COVID has only added to that. They've only made things worse across the board. There are shipping delays left, right, and center right now. People have to pay 4 or 5 times as much, perhaps even more, to get their hands on the limited number of ships, basically, to send their stuff from the factories to the mainland. So it's expensive right now. Things have been delayed left, right, and center, and even without that, even without the general delays of COVID, practically speaking, most Kickstarters, and CMON included, do tend to fall behind the curve. I mean, Zombicide right now, Season 2, Zombicide 2nd Edition is supposed to arrive in November 2020. Honestly, all things considered, I'm pretty impressed that they are not that far behind. If you look at the updates, they're going to be roughly a bit, they're already starting to ship or whatnot, or get sent out or whatever, and it does look like they're going to be arriving in the next 2 to 3 months. So a 6-month delay when you factor in COVID, to me, is not bad. It does mean that CMON is stepping up their game because they were at a 6-month delay before COVID, But factor in, there are delays. If you are looking at this date on this Kickstarter, March 2022, and expecting to get your hands in it, well, also expect to be disappointed. You may well not get your hands in it by March 2022. But, all that said, there are wooden dice. So, you could back it for the wooden dice. Well, more specifically, let's go through 5 reasons why you should back it. And we'll get into the rest of the usual stuff shortly. To begin with, wooden dice. I mean, I'm not such a huge fan of wooden dice, and I'll grant these dice do need to have some heft. I don't want them to be little lightweight popcorn just thrown across your table. They need to have some degree of heft to the dice. But wooden dice would never have been so apropos in any Zombicide game until now, and I do want those wooden dice. If you don't already have Zombicide, this is an excellent chance to jump in at a reasonable price. I know I just said that Black Plague is my favorite Zombicide, and that's true. but to get all the Kickstarter stuff in Black Plague, to get all the goodness, is going to cost you far more, because you do have to pay those secondhand market prices, because that Kickstarter is long gone. So if you want a good entry point into Zombicide that's going to give you a good solid Zombicide game and a ton of extra content for the best price possible, $100 for that price point, $100 for that core pledge and all the extras that are going to come with it, and make no mistake, it is going to be a lot of extras that come with it, well, I think that's a pretty good price, honestly. 3, the changes in this game, and we'll get to them soon, are pretty solid. I'm coming from this as someone who, my favorite Zombicide is Black Plague. I thought Green Horde was a step down, but I still have it. I thought Invader was a step down, but I still have it, although that one I think I'm going to get rid of at some point. I've been saying that for a year and a half now. I just need to play it more, but I don't want to play it more because I'd rather play Black Plague, so it's in that kind of tough spot. And so coming from that, I've played Undead or Alive already. I have a TTS gameplay of Crackalope. It's on the campaign page. And overall, I thought it was pretty solid in the changes it brings to the table. Not everything that I think was a step up. Some things I still prefer Black Plague. But what it did change, overall, I liked it. Number 4, if you're going to get the game, and I talked about this briefly already about the price point, the entry, if you're going to get this game ever, then get it on the Kickstarter. You can either pay like $60-$70 in retail to get, a whole bunch of stuff, or you can pay $100 plus shipping and get 3-4 times the amount of content, the amount of extra survivors, the amount of extra abominations. Who knows what they have extra planned? I mean, if they don't have some sort of train or whatnot. I mean, Zombicide 2nd Edition gave us a card, didn't they? They gave us, if I'm not mistaken, they gave us somewhere, maybe as an optional buy, and that might be the case, but I do recall seeing a car, I think. Now I'm losing my mind over here. Here we go, yeah. 3D cars for Zombicide for $14. I'll pay $14 for some gigantic deluxeified train for this game, because I do want to have a giant piece on my table, a centerpiece of the game, because the train is a key mechanic, a key change in Zombicide Undead or Alive, and I definitely want that train, although you may have to pay extra for it, apparently. And 5, the value is absolutely there. Even if you hate this game, and you might hate this game, it just happens sometimes, I guarantee you will be able to sell this game for more than you paid for it. To the point, by the way, on my Patreon, I have a pledge tier, $10 or above on my Patreon, gives you access to Kickstarter insurance, which is me guaranteeing that I will buy your pledge from you if you can't sell it yourself for what you paid for it. There are terms and conditions or whatnot, but the basic idea is I am 100% confident that I can pay you $100 for your Zombicide game and turn around and sell it for a profit. So if you aren't sure, then check in with me. And they do have things about international, because I don't know international markets, stuff like that. There'll be terms and conditions. I'll throw a link down below, but that will be my Patreon pick for February, I think, the month we're in now. And with all that out of the way, with my 5 reasons why, 5 reasons not, timestamps down below in case you want to skip to any section, let's go through this. What is Zombicide? Zombicide, at its core, is a game that you're going to basically play with 6 different survivors, taking 3 actions. Each survivor is going to take 3 actions, either searching, attacking, moving, stuff like that, trading weapons, picking up objectives, different things. Utilize your 3 actions however you will. Next survivor goes, next survivor goes, next survivor goes, and then the zombies activate. All zombies on the board will activate, starting to move towards people and attacking if they are in your zone, and then new zombies will spawn from all the spawn points. And so Zombicide is ultimately a game where you have to manage the growth of your character by slaying zombies, but leveling up. The problem is, as you level up, you advance to new tiers, which means more zombies will spawn, so you have to be very careful about how and where you level up, lest you be overwhelmed with zombies before you are ready to do so. Along the way, you are trying to accomplish objectives, and those objectives will range by scenario. Sometimes they are getting different objectives. In this case, they're often going to be things like escaping the train, using the train, or different things that are going to be different in Undead or Alive compared to other games. And along the way, you're going to be picking up and getting your hands on different gear. The gear is going to be fun, because rolling 1 dice is fun, but rolling 5 dice is funner. Funner. So the Zombicide's giving you that dungeon crawling experience of run around, slay things, level up, run around, slay things, level up, and either die or win along the way. If that sounds fairly simplistic, it is fairly simplistic, but it is one of my favorite, well, possibly one of my favorite, because Cthulhu Death May Die is my favorite. One of my favorite simplistic games out there. Zombicide Black Plague is in my top 10 favorite games of all time, and Zombicide Undead or Alive is a solid addition. As far as what Zombicide Undead or Alive does differently, they take the core gameplay, they don't change that up so much, but to begin with, they start with classes. So each character is going to have a class that gives it a unique ability. Now, if you remember, playing Zombicide, or Zombicide Black Plagues use that, you always have different abilities you can level up, you can gain as you level up. But in this game, every single character comes with a class, and that class starts with an ability. So you don't have to wait till you're in orange before you get a new ability. Rather, you can get a new ability at the beginning of the game, and that will be, for instance, let's say over here, the townsfolk, there's brawlers that can can run 2, effectively they have charge, move 2 zones into a zombie attack. So they're going to have different abilities that will mix things up, give you options. Perhaps you as a townsfolk can search again and again and again instead of limited to once per turn. All those different things. So they're going to have classes with unique abilities. They're going to have balconies with improved line of sight. Let's see if we can find a balcony zone. But balconies are going to give you improved line of sight to different zone points if I can find it somewhere. I can't find the balconies. I don't know where they went. But balconies are going to be the idea that you have these balconies that overlay different, that you walk into a balcony from inside a building, and then from there you can shoot alongside either of the streets or whatever it is that it shows. It gives you line of sight while also giving you protection, because the zombies can't get to you because you're on a balcony and zombies don't climb. And so it gives you balconies as a new strategic access point. They have a train that's going to be barreling through the board, literally barreling through the board. It will destroy all the zombies and the abominations and all the things that are along the way, getting in your way and all that. So it's going to have this point where you're going to be flipping these boards to mimic the train as it enters town, as it leaves town, as it just is there. They're going to have different ways that the train integrates with you, with the game, depending on the scenario you're playing. They do not have Zombicide, they do not have necromancers. So if you're used to that from Black Plague or Green Horde or whatnot, they don't have necromancers. They have a different mechanic in terms of how zombie spawn points are added to the board, which is as you enter different rooms. So you're not going to spawn zombies the way you did in original Zombicide, but nothing the way it is in Invader. As you enter a new building, you will add a new spawn point to that building, somewhere in that building a new spawn point will go on the board, which means new zombies are going to be spawning, and you can take it out with holy water, but you have to get your hands on holy water. Factor in the fact that when the abomination enters the board, it triggers its own special abomination spawn point, so the way spawn points are handled in this game is going to be totally different as well. And I do like when bad things happen. This is one of those areas where I still prefer Black Plague. I like knocking down a door and having a million zombies show up randomly. It is fun for me, but I will take a spawn point. It's better than nothing. We have a Gatling gun. Now that's not really that new. That's going to be not that different than the trebuchet from Green Horde. So it's just another way of having some sort of movable thing that destroys zombies in a way that you can't yet. We have dynamite, which will be akin to, the Molotov cocktail or the dragon bile and the torch from Black Plague. It's going to give you that option to just do boom in a zone and clearing out absolutely everything. We have a wagon, which is how you're going to move different things and have different things and do different things. I don't know much about the wagon. That should be pretty obvious, but I do know you can put the Gatling gun on the wagon to move it around the board or something like that. Noise is going to be handled differently. So noise is not going to be simply noise in every single spawn point across the board. Rather, wherever you make noise last, that's where the noise token goes. So noise is now easier to manage and also more strategically able to manipulate different zombies by just boom with a gun over here, boom with a gun over here, and the zombies don't know where to go, but they're going to go towards the last noise because zombies are not that intelligent. And that's going to be most of the changes in Zombicide Undead or Alive. It's possible I forgot a few. That's totally possible. But that's going to be most of the changes in Zombicide Undead or Alive. Past that, the base game of Zombicide is coming with 14 survivors out the gate. 4 of the gunslingers, 4 brawlers, 4 townsfolk, and 2 of the faithful. And those are going to have different abilities. The gunslingers have this fan the something majiggy. Basically, you're shooting off your weapon a whole bunch of times at zombies. You have brawlers, which can move 2 zones, run 2 zones, and then immediately attack. Kind of similar to the charge ability, or exactly like the charge ability. We have townsfolk that will be able to search multiple times in buildings, and we have faithful that can put first of all, they can use regular water as holy water in terms of taking out spawn points on the board, and secondly is they can throw a token down that basically freezes all zombies from activating in a zone. I mean, imagine using that with wolves or something like that. I don't know if there's going to be wolves in this game. There should be wolves in the game. This is the Wild West. I can see wolves. Let's throw wolves in here, Zombicide. Come on. Let's throw some wolves in here. We're going to have 72 zombies, 40 walkers, 16 runners, 16 fatties, and 1 abomination. And of course, this is Kickstarter. There will be more things. There will be special types of special types of zombies attacking you. There'll be more unique abominations. There's going to be, and already are, tons of new heroes in the game. We have the Gatling gun, the trays, the cards, all the stuff you've come to expect. The 9 zombie tiles, whatever, the different locations on the board, the 3 double-sided train tiles, that's new. And then, of course, the Billy the Kid, the Kickstarter exclusive extra you get when you back the game. And rest assured, there'll be more. The gameplay video from Quackalopes over here, make sure to check that out. It's on TTS, which is always, TTS, but it is pretty well done, and I had a lot of fun because I was in that game and I played that game, and it is a fun game that I am looking forward to. We have the rulebook, which is available. So people who want to see Command rulebooks off the bat, it's over here. We got one. Past that, we got all these painted stuff from Big Child Creators, and of course the game does not come painted. And then we have the daily duel. Every day at noon, we're going to have something unlocked. If you follow Massive Darkness, you're used to this by now. We have both stretch goals and daily unlocks, which is my personal favorite in terms of Kickstarters, because stretch goals are fun for when you feel like you accomplished something, and daily unlocks are important for when you have those slow days where nothing's really happening and you want some more stuff. And so that's going to be coming up up every day at noon at Eastern Standard Time. You will find out whatever you unlock. I don't know what today's is, but I'm excited. We have day 1, something on the horizon. I'm guessing, is that a unique sculpt? I don't want it to be a unique sculpt. I want something more than that, but we'll find out. Who knows? Stretch goals. So beginning with, we got those custom wooden dice, which again, I hope they have some heft. I do not want them to be light and useless. They need to roll. They can't fly across the table. Then we have tribute after tribute to every single movie, Old West character. I will know very few of these, but I definitely will know some because Tombstone was an amazing movie, and John Wayne. Oh my gosh, John Wayne. This, by the way, has got to be John Wayne, right? I mean, The Alamo is one of my favorite movies. Look at that face over there. This sculpt looks more like John Wayne than this art, but that definitely looks like John Wayne. That's got to be John Wayne. Anyways, but from there we have Grayson, Raines, Mika, Jesse James. I've heard of Jesse James, like I said, American Outlaws. That was the movie with Jesse James, right? We have Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kids, or well, we actually have just Butch Cassidy. We have Father Luke. We have Professor Flesher. We have Hank. We have Sheriff Earp. That's Wyatt Earp. Wyatt Earp over there. Tombstone, like I said already. We have Copé. We have Janie. Janie sounds good. Doc Holliday. We have Rob. You're my Doc Holliday, the one who's like, you're my Huckleberry, something like that. But either way, Doc Holliday. We have Wild Bill Hickok. We have April, Weiser, and then of course John Wayne coming up. So we have all the usual stuff, all the usual hordes of survivors being unlocked, more variety for your game, more options for you to play, because I mean, survivors are, I would say I prefer abomination variety as well as more zombie types, so I can mess up the game that way, but having a ton of survivors is still a lot of fun, so you can constantly pick up and mix up your stuff. As far as shipping or whatnot, shipping's going to range, you're looking at 18 to 30 at the base level, coming up in more and more depending on which zone you're in. That will be calculated between 17 to 27% of the order. Factor that in. This might make this not the right choice for you if you have to factor in VAT and shipping and everything else into your pledge costs. That's a decision you're going to have to make for yourself. I know Massive Darkness had a whole lot of drama around it, and yeah, it's here. It's going to be something you have to take into account. As far as past that, there are no optional buys. So where are we with this campaign? Well, there's nothing that much yet. This is new. We just popped up on popped up on Kickstarter. It's ready to go. There will be optional buys throughout the day. I guarantee you. There's gonna be options, not throughout the day, throughout the 20 days of the campaign. Come on, typically, like I said, it's gonna end in that 250 plus range. There's going to be perhaps 2 days from now might be the first optional buy. I don't know exactly when they will drop, but they will drop regularly every few days throughout the campaign, giving you more ways to spend money from kits of survivors, kits of abominations, expansions that mix up the gameplay. Maybe there'll be a campaign mode like Zombicide 2nd Edition. I have no idea. I don't know what their plans are, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a full campaign mode expansion popping up at some point. Or maybe not. Maybe that would be something that would show up in their initial pledge, because they like to do that whole, one pledge for the basic game and then one pledge for everything else. So we'll see what shows up throughout the campaign. As far as should you back it or not, like I said already, this is usually going to be an easy yes. Internationally, combined with that, combined with what you have to pay for shipping, combined with whether or not you can sell it in your market, I don't know what the international markets are like for reselling these games and how much they hold their value. But if you take a look at look at Bloodborne right now. Even a base pledge of Bloodborne is selling for 2 to 3 times its value. That is the way Command games generally work. People sell them for a lot more than what they paid for it because people want these games, and this is not going to be any exception. Zombicide, no matter how many times it is repeated, still holds its value, and I don't think it'll hold its value to the same way Bloodborne did. There is a difference between being a one-of-a-kind versus being another Zombicide game, another Zombicide game, another Zombicide game. Zombicide Invader held its value just fine, but also hasn't held its value to the degree that Bloodborne has, because it's another Zombicide game. Obviously, this is going to be different than Zombicide Night of the Living Dead, which was more of a one-off with, here's 2 or 3 promos. That's not the same category. This the Command, 7-day campaigns are a very different thing than the Command full campaigns with all the stretch goals and unlocks. But I can say with confidence, like I said already, that I'm picking this as my Patreon pick. There'll be a link in the description down below. That's my Patreon insurance pick of the month for Kickstarter. This will hold its value. I guarantee it, or at least I guarantee it if you're a Patreon. Past that, nothing really else to add. This is Zombicide. I'll be covering this out throughout the campaign. I'll be covering this in my weekly roundups when they come up. So every Monday I do a weekly roundup of all the Kickstarters, and depending on what shows up throughout the campaign, I may do another full dedicated video on Zombicide, because I do like Zombicide. I don't mind doing another dedicated video, but as long as they give me enough extras, enough new stuff to actually do a full dedicated video. Lastly, I'll say I'm surprised to a degree. If we look at Zombicide 2nd Edition, okay, so we have 8,503 backers within day 1. That's what we have so far. 740,000. If you go to KickTrack, we have 734,000 day 1 for Zombicide 2nd Edition, and we have 5,700 backers. 5,700 backers compared to the 8,500 backers. This Wild West theme is doing it for people. It is bringing people in. And before we compare the fact that the backers are much higher but the cost isn't, that's because we only have a $100 pledge here, but Zombicide 2nd Edition launched day one with 100 and, I don't remember if they had the 180. They had 140 day one. They had the, no, I don't know, 2nd Edition. Yeah, they had the $140 pledge day one, so they had a lot more money being spent amongst fewer backers. But like I said, 5,700 backers day one, Dead one is 5th though, versus 8,500. The Wild West theme is doing something here. It's pulling people in. For myself, I prefer the Wild West to space, but I still prefer medieval ultimately above all. Although I never really liked the Necromancers. I like what they're doing here a little more. Anyways, I'm Alex Ratcliffe from Board Game Co. Zombicide Undead or Alive is an easy back if you are interested in this game. It will hold its value. It's a good entry point to the series, and it's going to give you hordes and hordes of zombies, which is always fun. Until next time, have a good one.